and throwing bottles at them, it could be quite frustrating. But I want the team to look past it. It's part of the antics. Look, Rivers United, I can understand. Anyway, let me not say I can understand because I cannot understand it. But look, I knew the pressure was going to come, especially after beating the Libyan side 5-0. The pressure was going to come. There were 2 penalties in that game. Yeah, though legitimate penalty from my standpoint. But definitely you expect the Libyans to bring this at you, which is disappointing. And in the long run, they intimidate you, make you lose focus. And it goes back to what we're talking about, the focus thing. For me, the Rivers United ought to keep that focus. Yes, you're being intimidated, but move to the next level. Train today in the afternoon, no problem. If you have cameras, use your cameras. Make it difficult. Let the world be aware. Use the social medias. Promote show every incident that's happening on social media. Make the world aware of what's happening. Probably the intimidation would reduce. Next up, you know that you have a big game to play. Go into that game. You were able to score 5. Focus in the game. Score 1, score 2. You never can tell. All the intimidations will relieve.
Yeah, Brett, I think it's, a reoccurring decimal when it comes to African football as well. And this is not the first time this is happening, in the CAF tournament. And CAF are not just doing anything. I could recall what happened to Akwa United when they, in the competition as well. They traveled to play Sierra Bolidad away from home in that Petula encounter. This was the same thing that happened, switching off the light, when they want to train in the evening. Come on, it's part of the antics, just like what Blyden said, training in the afternoon, get the perfect results. I think CAF as a body, should look into this particular thing because it's getting worse every single day as well. Right? So I knew where you're going to. Let me just say it. The pressure that is getting worse as well. So, but something has to be done as well.
Well, beyond the laugh, the jokes and the smiles, this needs to stop very practically, Blyden.
Yeah.
How can we start the process, putting a stop to this ugly incident?
This is where I look at it. I know we talked about it on TV, but I think the clubs have the onions on it to stop it. We're in the world of a social media. There's no point writing to CAF, say, we've been intimidated, we're not allowed to play. And the next thing, CAF tries to find out from them. And they say, the reverse is the case. Because when they come to your home, they're also writing to CAF, we're on our own. This happened, that happened, that happened. It's the world of the social media. Get everything on videos, live as it's happening. Yes, I know you can be heckled, it can be difficult for them. I know the pressure is there, but come on, they won't kill you. There are secret cameras everywhere these days. The clubs have to take it upon themselves to expose the level of this antics. That's basically the way I say it. They have to do more about it, push it online, because it drives the conversation. People are not really talking about it. If you depend on CAF just to push it, it will take years for this to happen and change. But if the clubs take up the responsibility, try to push it online, let the world be aware of it. Let European medias be aware of what's happening. I bet you CAF will step in immediately and begin to do something about it.
All right. Sorry, that's just it.
Yeah, but right, aside from that, I just think, these players, some of the clubs, they don't have enough money, to get, those quality cameras, those secret cameras that can, easily capture some of these incidents happening on the field of play as well. So I just think money is another aspect of it.
We're not even talking about how dangerous it is.
Absolutely.
Because, a fan spots you. I've been to match venues around Nigeria here, some hostile venues. And then something happens, an incident happens, and then even if you want to make a call, if you're not properly guided or yours is not identified face, you could be a victim of a mob. Anyone with a camera, anything semblance of camera, any phone lifted up, in that particular direction, beyond having that phone smashed, you'd be mercilessly beaten, thoroughly dealt with. So it's a dangerous venture.
Right, James, I understand how dangerous it is. But we're talking about club sides. We're talking about officials here. What happens? We're even talking about using a camera. What happens if you then go there to win the Libyan side? Then, by that fear, we should not even go to compete in this competition. What I'm saying is this. Yes, the dangers are there, but how can we stop it? We have to find a way. And the onus of it is on the clubs to do something about it. You can have secret journalists, could be a white person. You can pay somebody to do it. But you ought to get the message out. You can have secret cameras for crying out loud. It's a club side, owned by states. And it costs money to fly all the way to Libya to do these games. It costs money to pay players. So you have to begin to think about the safety of your players. And one of the ways you do it is to expose these events. Without that, for me, the clubs cannot sit down and have lip gloves on their hands and just sit down and say, oh, we're waiting for CAF to do something. They have to expose all these things. There's no point telling us in the media and writing to CAF and writing. Let's have evidence. Put it out for the world to see. When the world sees there's going to be a faster reaction, that's what I'm talking about. And they ought to do something about it. Otherwise, in the long run, we'll have a situation where a club goes and never returns. God forbid.
God forbid.
God forbid.
Well, practical steps needs to be, done, so we don't have a recurrence of this particular incident. But CAF, also have a role to play. One thing, one affair thing, one game thing. Yeah. For these countries and for some of these teams, it's more like a recurring decimal. It's what they do every other time. Yeah. So if we have CAF look that direction and maybe take this these complaints a lot more seriously, you could have something positive coming. Well, we'll have to move away from that particular while hoping that Rivers United have at least give the opportunity to play football later tomorrow. So they justify why they should be progressing to the next round of the competition. We'll keep tracking that for you. Ahead of that, a crunch encounter, the under-23 AFCON qualifier, the last lap against the Olympic Eagles. They're set to take on Burundi. Do you know what preparations is like for Nigeria ahead of that particular clash? Because our opponents are very serious. Are we?
Surely it's the same situation we talked about, especially at the under-23 level, when Salisu Yusuf was preparing against Ghana, and we couldn't qualify. But the good thing from a Nigerian point of view is we also have Costa Rica to play against, isn't it? So a couple of these players, I think, they're drafted to also join that team. So that's our own level of preparation. The home-based Super Eagles will be playing against Costa Rica, and that will take place on the 10th of this month, November, about 2 days to come, 3 a.m. Nigerian time in San Jose. So on the other hand, you think about it, generally, it's a good preparation from the side in readiness to face Guinea. But it's going to be an uphill game as far as I'm concerned, because you have the Guinean side right here, knowing that if you don't qualify in this particular game, they're not going for the competition in the next round or with the Nations Cup of it. So for me, it's basically what it is. Good opportunity for both sides to show that display and show quality performance in the long run. Only time will tell what the outcome would be if the Nigerian side will be able to dominate the Guinean side.
Right, now, we're going to carry table. Still talk about national team football now, set to make a return to the national team, we understand, and is in line for a recall when we take in Portugal in that international friendly later this month. We're going to carry table. Well, it's been out for a while. Would you see rather we've missed Ogene carry table, and on his return, what exactly does he bring back?
Well, Brett, I've not missed him. We have, quality players in that particular place. We've seen players emerging from, other club sides to make sure they can fit into that particular starting 11. I just feel, Jose Pizarro needs him because, they just concluded the qualifiers we've been playing. We missed referee indeed in that particular game, and we were caught napping, and it was only Innocent Bonke that could fill up that particular space, and Frank Onyeka in that particular game. So I just feel Jose Pizarro needs, a competition between referee Ndidi and Ogene Karetebo. But for me, could recall the 2018 World Cup when he made that mistake against Croatia, and also in the AFCON against is it Algeria as well. So for me, Ogene Karetebo has passed his prime. This is someone who can't even stay in a club for more than 5 years. He went to Stoke City, to Woodford. He just been, touring around Europe as well. So, Bright, I think we call ourselves giants of Africa. I think we should go past the era of just trying to rely on recalling players back to the national team as well. If you are going to do that, then I think we should call the likes of what's his name now? This girl who was playing for Trabzonspor, Anthony Wakema as well, because he's also a quality players. But right, come on, we have Riff indeed in the team. We have Innocent Bonke, who is doing extremely well for Lorient as well. We have quality players in the in the Super Eagles team that we can develop as well and get the best out of them. We shouldn't be relying on Ogene Karetebo because he has passed his prime and age is no longer by his side.
No, let's look at something. He's been a part of the national team for a while now.
Yeah.
Now, under Jose Pizarro, many will say, thank goodness, we've not qualified for the World Cup. So there's no real serious threat outside maybe the Nations Cup qualifiers for next year. So for Nigeria, we can, categorically say it's a building process for us. So it's a time to bring in the new lads, help them understudy and learn the ropes, prepare for the future. Getting back to Ogenekari Table, many say he represents part of the past. Does it make sense at this point?
I think it does for me. He's not part of the past. I look at Ogenekari Table. He came in at a time probably after that one particular Olympics with the likes of Wilfred Ndidi coming on the scene. Quality player, especially from attacking front, before he became a defensive midfielder. But I think injury has not been fair with a Table. Quality players, all indications, maybe not at the level of Wilfred Ndidi, but still okay. I remember the Nations Cup, the World Cup qualifiers rather, against Ghana. Wilfred Bonke was having difficulties playing at the highest level for the Super Eagles. He was just drafted to the team. A Table had been around, though coming back from injury. He was the only player he could turn out to think about, and he performed at least a little bit better than average. Looking at the likes of Abdullahi Shehu, for me, those are the players that shouldn't be at the national team. I could mention a couple of them that shouldn't be at the national team. Abdullahi Shehu, what's his name now? The captain. Captain Musa. Fantastic. Ahmed Musa too shouldn't be at the national team. Maybe he can do well with the Table. Sadly, he's now playing from the Greek side, Aris.
Yeah, well, let's look at the conversation in the park now. We're talking about, what's this young lad who plays club football for Brugge, Rafa Onyedika.
Yeah.
He's 21. Yeah, he's young. He's got a lot to learn. And we're talking about Frank Onyeka at Brentford.
Yeah.
He's equally young. Can, still growing within the national team cadre.
Yeah.
You've got Wilfred Ndidi, is top of the pecking order. Would always
but
be
not relatively stable.
First choice there. Yeah. Well, injury hasn't been fair to him as well. So now, where does Ogenekari Table belong? And why exactly you're bringing Ogenekari Table? Are you bringing him in based on the quality he has? He has the ability to start games even alongside Wilfred Ndidi, or you bring him in basically because, outside Wilfred Ndidi represents the only other player with seeming experience in the national team setup. So is it quality, or we're talking just the situation where we find ourselves now?
This is it for me. Practically, if you keep a Table, keep Onyeka, who's going to play for you? I'll go for a Table at least. Onyeka hasn't been the mainstay of the Super Eagles, neither has he been the mainstay in his club side. Most of the games he's played for the Super Eagles, midfield has been leaking. So it's just a little bit of a patch in the team. Yes, we understand he's still growing, trying to adapt to the team. So when you look at experience and solidity, first, Wilfred Ndidi stands alone. So probably you think about a Table because he's got experience with the national team. He's still okay to play. I think injury has not been fair with him. That's my point. Injury has not been fair with him. But as long as he's beginning to play, especially playing for Aris right now, and we hope he recuperates and gets solid, I can draft him to the national team.
You take a Table to the Nations Cup in 2024?
If it's fit.
Just saying, no.
If it's fit, I should.
No.
And depending on the performances of others.
The conversation is this. There's really no time to check time, but we can buy ourselves some time between now and the Nations Cup in 2024. That if it holds then, Rafa Onyedika is young, is 21.
Agreed.
Hasn't really had much game time with the national team, but he's growing, and his influence and his reputation is growing in European football. Why not hand him some time between now and the Nations Cup in 2024? We've been blessed, at least for this year, lots of international friendlies, and we could do the same for next year. Arrange top-class friendlies and mid-table, if that's a word now, for lack of a better word, friendlies with sizable teams our size, as teams our reputation, so we can go try out our mettle there. Why not do that and then allow this lad the leisure of growing to become what you'd want in an ideal holding midfielder in 2024?
I think he's already part of the setup. He was part of the team that played against Algeria. I think he never really had opportunity to step on the field in that particular match. So I think the coaches are watching him. seeing what he's doing with Club Brugge. Quality midfielder as far as I'm concerned. If you're playing at a top-notch level, talking about the UEFA Champions League, you should be drafted to the national team, give everyone opportunity to play. Then build a team from there, that's my point. But the fact, I do not think it's enough to just say, Table, don't be part of the team anymore. No, give the younger lads opportunity to play. Also give a Table opportunity to make his own stay, show class that he can play. In the long run, the best teams, the best players get to play for the national team. I really think even other players should be drafted to the national team. We've seen some players, even with Sheriff Tiraspol, give them opportunity to play if they can play and they're Nigerians. That's the way I said. Arrange friendly matches and everyone will get opportunity to play.
Right. Super Eagles Napoli striker Victor Osimhen has been included in the Serie A Team of the Week. Was compared by, of course, some stats-based organizations and pundits came together to do that as well. Scored to provide an assist as Napoli came from a goal down to beat Atalanta 2-1 in Bergamo. Well, drew Napoli level after Ademola Lookman, Nigerian counterpart, had given Atalanta the lead from penalty spot after 10 minutes before the end of the first half. And then set up a side's second goal. So Napoli are back in action later tonight. And how we joined the conversation. How sad was it? No, not sad. Sad, not a word. Except business perspective. But how shocking was it? Real Madrid lost to crosstown rivals Rayo Vallecano last night. 3-2. It was quite some game. It was, you can't really look at that game and say, well, Madrid stamped any sort of authority in there. It was Rayo Vallecano almost from start to finish. Was that shocking?
Well, Bright, it wasn't shocking for me, because, I saw the results coming, right from the Champions League when they lost to RB Leipzig, You
did?
Yeah, I saw it coming, They drew against Genoa at home also. So it was, kind of, the result, it was building, towards, this particular game. But one thing about Madrid is that they know how to score goals, but they know how to concede goals as well. So that's, one aspect Carlo Ancelotti has to solve in that particular team, because Madrid have been conceding goals, left, right, center in that particular game. I still wonder, when they have quality defenders, talking of David Alaba, Eder Militao, and also the recent addition to the team, talking of Rudiger in that team, and they are still conceding goals like what up. So, Bright, I think at this point they are missing Casemiro. Because games like this, we see Casemiro coming, trying to box up everything in the midfield. Madrid were leading that particular 2-1. They considered first, they equalized and they were leading that particular game. So Rayo needs to equalize and still, lead the game again. So I still feel Madrid, they have to do enough. Ancelotti needs to be cautioned in this. He needs to caution the players in this aspect, because they are conceding goals. Even in the Champions League, when they played against Man City, they are still conceding goals. So that's one aspect they need to work on. And also, when it comes to the front three, if Karim Benzema doesn't turn up to the party, Vinicius Junior will just give you, a camo in that particular game. Maybe he decides to turn up today, tomorrow he doesn't turn up. They need to do something when it comes to the middle of the pack as well, and that particular defense line.
Well, I thought Blyden had it was so much hype and so much ecstasy around Eduardo Camavinga joining, and even when this lad joined, Aurelien Tchouameni from the French side, I was like, this guy is master class. Really do business. We've got Kroos and Modric sorted out. Well, Modric was there, Kroos was missing. Casemiro is out. Is that a missing piece?
Well, I wouldn't want to say that. I think they're quality players, young players. Sometimes you don't get to win all the games. But just as Solorex has said, the pointers to possibilities of losing. It all started when they got to the peak of the Champions League group game, and their form started dwindling. Lost in a particular game, drew this one, and the same story. Now, finally, they've lost in the La Liga game. But here is it. I think there's something people are not also looking at. The second season syndrome for Carlos Ancelotti.
Is that a thing?
It is, yes. It is. Exception of in AC Milan, where he wasn't winning the league. But look, Carlos Ancelotti, when he goes to a club, first season takes him to a different height. Second season, gives some flashes of good performance. When it feels like they've gotten to a peak and you're expecting so much, they begin to dwindle. It's been typical of him.
Now, let's look at it. What's there in the second season, which many have now categorized the syndrome? Is it a slump in mentality? Is it a slump in quality? What exactly characterizes that second season syndrome, or is it spiritual?
I wouldn't want to say it's spiritual, but here is it. I think it's a management style for me. most coaches are always demanding. Carlos Ancelotti's skill, it's all about you mature, you can handle it, let's do it well. That's why he's regarded as the finest man manager. Because he makes players free, especially big players. He gives them that sense of belonging, you can do it. Let's get to do it. You look at Real Madrid in the first season at the Champions League. Players were actually telling him some of the stuff he was supposed to do in some of the huge games. The likes of, what's the name, Marcelo. The left fullback, Marcelo, was doing that. And they were all hovering around him, the excitement. But second season, I always think, when they get to that peak of excitement, that collective effort, it begins to dwindle. And this is the point you need a coach to bring in a lot of drive to the side. And he doesn't usually have it.
Right. Well, let's talk now. 090-222-31011. As it starts. Milan. We'll talk about the other fixtures elsewhere in a bit. Welcome, football fan.
Hello, good afternoon, Rajan.
Sport Oracle. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Solorex And Blyden, the Sport Oracle. Rajan, let me say that I'm so happy for you to talk about the Super Eagles. Though the Super Eagles have not qualified for the World Cup. It shows very clearly that the mighty African giants cannot qualify. That all has been wrong. Let me say something very clearly that the responsibility of any country football is not based on a coach. It should be at a platform where the people that manage the football has left. So any coach who came to manage must to stay in the footsteps. As for Nigerian issue now, for us to always be inviting players, different players to come and play for a national team, we don't know how they're going to be fair. It's not the right way. Which is we have a platform who can coach players for a permanent contract and train players. So for them to play the friendly match against Portugal is for them to prepare for the AFCON qualifiers. Right. So I believe that for the new things, the new NFF, the new everything will be a wake up call for Nigerian football. That's my bit. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Victor, for joining the conversation this afternoon. Keep it coming. 090-222-31011, 0827-624-8565. We'll also talk about the Brazilian national team. Well, the score was released yesterday, and that has continued to spark reactions. Welcome.
Welcome, Bright and Sports Crew.
Top Gunner, welcome.
But I couldn't get you guys yesterday. So let me start from what I'm supposed to say yesterday. Let me celebrate on North London Derby. Arsenal humble Chelsea 1-0. Conscious 63 minutes goal. Arsenal take consecutive win at Trafford Bridge. Arsenal won Chelsea by 1-0. Chelsea players are poor. The lack are there. Arsenal did the damage. That game was Mikel Arteta against 150 game as a manager. Arsenal will have what it takes to win the league unless you can take him to key players. But Arsenal fans were chanting, Arsenal were on their side. Chelsea players at Trafford Bridge played like nothing was at stake. Chelsea had 5 shots, 1 on target. Chelsea midfield didn't work great. In addition, Arsenal was clinical. They could have scored 4 to 5 goals. Coming to watch after talking about River United players and their officials, be careful. The North African teams are playing dirty. From the news I heard, their training season has been interrupted. The light was shut up. Fans there chased the players out. Yes, the antics are unbearable. The housing officials are accused River United of bias of safety in their first leg. Finally, CAF Judiciary Committee, where are you? What is their duty? Let CAF stop favoring North African teams. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. Welcome, football fan. Name location. Hello, what's your name? Where are you calling us from?
Good afternoon, sport analyst.
Yeah.
Mr. Easy on the line.
All right, talk to us.
Yeah, let me quickly comment on where the top corner dropped concerning the Arsenal form and Chelsea form. Arsenal were beaten Chelsea by a goal to nil at their own backyard. But I give Chelsea everything to win the game, both in financially and the quality that they brought in the team. That alone can enable Chelsea to defeat Arsenal even without a manager. So I wonder, when the transfer window came, everybody would look for a big name player to sign. But when they come to take their own opponent like them, there will be no way to find. So I want to let and advise some of the big spenders team, they should beware how they spend.
All right, Mr.
Because
Eze.
the spending did not reflect on the team. That's my.
Thank you for
Hello,
joining.
good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us. Name and location.
Hello.
I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, talk to us. Welcome, football fan. Name and location.
Yes, good afternoon, Blyden. My name is Ekben. I'm calling you from here.
All right, Ekbeno.
I just want to complain about this Rivers United. I don't know why GAF don't have to do anything about this, because this is the same thing that happened between Plastic and United and Esperon of Tunisia. I think they have to do something, and it's always nothing club style. I don't know why. And for my team match yesterday, I was happy with the draws of Champions League round 16. I pray that we will do well this time. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining. Welcome, football fan. Name and location. Good to have you join us.
Hello.
Yes, welcome.
Good afternoon, Blyden.
Thank you
I'm
for
my
joining.
son.
Yeah, well, it's Solorex and Blyden.
Oh, okay. Thank you. God bless you, Blyden. My name is Godwin.
Welcome.
I want to ask, when is Nigeria going to play Portugal in friendly? Change this month.
Yes.
What day?
I'll quickly check that out for you. All right.
Okay, my sake. I don't think with the current form of the Nigerian team, Nigerian Super Eagles now, I don't think they will be able to make anything. They can't even scratch Portugal the way I see it. Maybe it's like they are going to college with. And another thing about the way Rivers United are being treated in Libya is very, very unfair. Football is a friendly game. It's supposed not to be so. I say thank you.
Thank you very much for joining. Well, Nigeria taking Portugal 17th November by 7:45 p.m. Nigerian time. Welcome, football fan. Your name, your location.
Good afternoon, football fans.
Thank you very much for joining. Hello, what's your name? Where are you calling us from? All right, drop call station right there.
I don't think that we will be squad to play Portugal.
Well, you should understand.
I'm surprised about the crowd squad.
Well, you should understand. The thing is this: the Victor Osimhen and the rest of them, you like to play the game against Costa Rica. They're busy with club engagements, all right? But this home-based stars, a combination of some players that play in some leagues in Europe, not mainstay. They've also been drafted in. The Olympic Eagles have the opportunity of preparing for the last leg of AFCON qualifiers with this particular friendly as well. But with Portugal, the leagues in Europe should be on break. So you'd have the regulars, the Osimhens, the Iheanachos, the Ademola Lookman, the Alex Iwobi and the rest of them available. So no fear. Welcome, football fan.
So how we doing? Hello.
Yeah, thanks for joining. No, so drop call situation there, so we'll take this.
Hello, Guardian.
Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Hello.
I can hear you. Go ahead, talk to us.
This is the studio from the lower government.
All right.
How can you be in the lower government? Because I'm not hearing this, you hear me. Tell these Chelsea people stop to complain. Every time complain. When they win you, they win you. Nothing like complaining. When Aston Villa win Man. I don't complain. Nobody don't ask my Man U fans complain. Say Aston Villa this happen. Tell them they complain. Arsenal win. We need 3 points. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining now. Let's talk about the Brazilian squads released by Coach Tite. Let's take a quick look at that after this batch. Of course, welcome football fan, name location.
Great.
Yes.
So now, can we say as I announced his arrival in London, he earlier said during a press interview that he wants to win a trophy at St. Villa Park. Man United defense that day Bright was shambolic. Cristiano Ronaldo guided Man United to a loss. While Uncle Harry Miguel was on the bench. But it's too early to judge Mr. Good evening. Because he brought us here Gerard abandoned in the bed to win Man United 3-0. Finally, Bright. Brazilian team leagues, World Cup team leagues, he feels Bobby Firmino is out, a dream of reality. To me, Bright, he has more to offer in experience. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. That's exactly where we're headed now. Well, the squad was headlined by Gabriel Martinelli. Gabriel Jesus called up the squad. Richarlison Anthony selected as well. For that one, Roberto Firmino is a big name. Well, missing out there. There's a place for a former Barca man. We're talking about 39-year-old Dani Alves currently plays for Mexican side Pumas. But Arsenal defender Gabriel Magalhaes, who scored for the Gunners in their warning win over Chelsea on Sunday, has been left out. Well, Firmino is one of 4 players that were called up to Brazil's penultimate squad for the World Cup in September, not to be selected for Qatar. The others being Nottingham Forest fullback Renan Lodi, Roma defender Robin Ibanez, and Atletico Madrid's Matheus Cunha. Well, let's look at the squad in full. And goalkeepers usual suspects: Alisson Becker, Liverpool; Edison Moraes, Manchester City; Weverton, Palmeiras defenders; Dani Alves, Pumas; Danilo, Juventus; Alexandre, Juventus; Alex Telles, Sevilla; Bremer, Juventus; Eder Militao, Real Madrid; Marquinhos, PSG; Thiago Silva, Chelsea; midfielders: Bruno Guimaraes, Newcastle; Casemiro, United; Everton, Ribeiro; Flamengo, Fabinho; Liverpool, Fred; Manchester United, Lucas Paqueta; West Ham United. No Premier League midfield: Gabriel Jesus of Chelsea, of Arsenal rather. Arsenal's Gabriel of PSG, Pedro of Flamengo, Rafinha of Barca, Richarlison of Tottenham Hotspur, Rodrigo of Real Madrid, and Vinicius Junior of Real Madrid also making the cut. Well, Roberto Firmino, we'll talk about how intelligent he is. He's got a football brain and all of that. Coach Tite has decided, well, for whatever reason, he doesn't make the squad.
Good decision for me. He's been a bit lazy in recent times. Firmino, not the Firmino I saw some last year, 2 years ago at Liverpool, who was hungry. Yes, he's not an out-and-out striker, always drifting into the middle, but disappointingly from in recent times, he's not being that player that drifts into the middle and does anything. Firmino just looks different from the Firmino I saw. I like the fact that the likes of Martinelli are given opportunity to play. Quality players really improved from an Arsenal point of view. He's 21. The likes of Rodrigo from Real Madrid and Vinicius Junior, big name now, though he's young, but big name, quality. But I was shocked by the former Barca defender, who's 39 now, going to 39, being part of this mix. I'm wondering what he's going to do there. Stay on the bench?
Last dance?
Last dance, really. Interesting. But I really was happy for Fred because he's been that player everyone doesn't want to go to the World Cup. Now, finally, he's going to the World Cup.
If you look at that squad, Solorex, we're talking about defenders now. You know, Dani Alves and Danilo, they're the only right backs there in that squad. Alexandro, is a left back. Alex Telles, left back. Bremer is a central defender. Eder Militao is a central defender. Marquinhos is a central defender. Thiago Silva is a central defender. Yeah. So, from that perspective, we say, it makes sense, because sacrificing an attacking player for, a backup defender, a backup right back, because, that's about the only recognized right backup they've got in that squad. Well, this man would always be first choice. Maybe Danilo is first choice. But if anything happens to Danilo, it's a World Cup.
I think he can gamble at a World Cup. World Cup is serious business.
Yeah.
For crying out loud, you're not telling me that there are no Flamengo right back. I've seen a Flamengo striker here, Pedro, who proposed to the girlfriend when he got the news that he's going to the World Cup.
Yeah.
So there could have been a Flamengo, a right fullback from Brazil. Dani Alves should have retired as far as I'm concerned. Not a good decision from my standpoint.
Well, Brett, for me, I think it's a good decision. Looking at Alves, if you're going to the World Cup, you need an experienced player, a player who knows
who can run.
Who knows what it means to play, for the World Cup as well.
We saw the same Dani Alves
at Barca
at Copa America.
There you go.
Yeah, well, played with the side to the finals, with the loss to Argentina. And it's been part of a couple of friendlies as well. We've seen the same Dani Alves play, so like he's just dropping from the moon or something.
We saw Cristiano Ronaldo last season playing quite well. Not the same Cristiano Ronaldo this season. He's 37. I saw Dani Alves at Barcelona before they said, we don't want you anymore. He can run. Not to talk of, he can play the league, not to talk of playing the Champions League, not to talk of playing the World Cup. That's my concern. Can he run?
No.
So you take Gabriel Magalhaes of Arsenal?
No.
Instead of him?
It's a World Cup about running.
The World Cup is the toughest competition in football. It is the toughest competition in football. I'm looking at it.
But it's just just about pace.
Pace is a key factor to it. At the World Cup, pace is very important. Strength, experience is important. I look at Dani Alves. It's football, for crying out loud. Football, you don't just stand and play for a defender at the World Cup. Maybe at the league, where it's a league series. You could be managed, drafted in. You just stand, you play. But come on, at the World Cup, the demands are huge.
Have you seen Dani Alves play recently?
Of course I have.
No, I mean like last 2, 3, 4
Can't be
months.
better than the Dani Alves I saw at Barcelona.
No, you can't say. Watch him play, and then maybe we'll have a conversation later. Welcome, football fan, name and location. It's a drop call situation, so we'll take this one. Welcome. What's the thing with the phone lines? Drop it basically. I'm sorry.
I want to comment. Against Liverpool and match. I was so happy playing for Liverpool and win and qualify. And for the Arsenal, don't know what to talk about.
Thank you very much for joining and staying on. I was breaking a bit. Brazil taking set and kicking off their group stage campaign November 24th. 4 days later, taking Switzerland and wrap up the group stage engagements. Welcome. But they taken Cameroon December 2nd. Let's try this now. Solorex, you ready with Facebook? Welcome, football fan. Name and location.
No, you will about the phone.
No, turn down the volume of the radio set. Just turn it down.
All right, I'm away from it now.
All right, talk to us.
All right, I want to talk about the issue of Firmino. I don't really understand what's going on in the Brazilian squad right now. It's very, very pathetic. As in, look at this guy. From this season, you can see what he's doing. The contributions and everything too. What? I don't really understand what's going on.
Firmino.
So for the Super Eagles, I don't know how they're gonna do it with the Portugal team. Whether everything's gonna work out well. I just wish them good luck, though. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's talking Firmino, the contribution. What exactly has he done this season for Liverpool? We've seen him play.
For me,
no disrespect, actually.
Firmino, good player by all standards, he should be.
Yeah.
But this season, it's really been sloppy. That's the only way to describe Firmino. Sloppy.
And, so right is there playing that forward line. You'd say, well, I'd pick Firmino over this guy.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Welcome, football fan. Name and location. Good to have you join us.
Yeah, good afternoon, Belgium.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, Michael calling from New York. Yeah, I think that Firmino shouldn't have been dropped. On the opinion that Firmino has a lot to add to that attacking side of Barcelona. Right?
So, which of the players in that forward line would you drop for Firmino?
Rafinha, because he just runs and doesn't have any block.
Have you seen Now, are you talking the Rafinha you see at Barca or the Rafinha with the national team? We're talking Brazil. Have you seen Rafinha play for Brazil?
Rafinha is at Barcelona, the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Just
so
keeps running, take down. You can't see a pass. Rafinha should be to the World Cup. For God's sake, we are not doing 100 meters.
right.
It's the World Cup. We need quality.
Well, Chiche thinks otherwise.
Blyden,
Think of watch Rafinha at the World Cup. Watch Rafinha play for Brazil, and then maybe we can have a conversation later, right?
yeah, right. Then on the final note, right?
Yeah.
And he come Masara Bofe and they show. I've heard a lot of things. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for joining. We thoroughly appreciate you. We saw a similar thing last season. Lionel Messi was struggling with PSG. Well, every single time he wore the jersey of the RB Celeste, it was a different beast entirely.
Yeah, Brett, it's very different, when you play for your national team, and when you play for your club football as well. So it's something very different as well. The player you get to see, perform, for the club side. For example, just the story of, Wilfred Ndidi, when he plays for Leicester City, he gives his 100%. At times when he calls to the national team, he doesn't really replicate what he's doing for the club.
Let's not do that thing you're doing. Welcome, football fan. Name and location.
Hello, Brian.
Yeah, Victor, take 25 seconds.
Let me say that, Brian, the issue that always broke from the Nigerian contingent that is always went to Northern to play football, always a different. I know that he may not play part of the football, but I don't know whether they have the way they regard us, but I blame the people that manage, because especially the CAF president. Football was meant to bond people together, not to. So I want to advise Rivers United for them to go beyond that and know what they go there for. Them to finish what they start on Plateau and it's a fire lady. That's my thing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Solorex.
Yeah, Brett, from Facebook, we have just a comment, and it's from Savio Archibald, who is the top fan. He said, "Good afternoon, sports crew. Congratulations to Gabriel Jesus and Martinelli for being selected for the Brazil World Cup squad. So sad that Gabriel Magalhaes missed out, but he's a blazing in disguise. Up Gunners."
Thank you very much for your thoughts. Blatter admits Qatar World Cup decision was a mistake. We talked about this when the whole, human rights thing and the conversations around the World Cup came, and then, asking how were they awarded the rights in the first place. Now, former FIFA president, talking Sepp Blatter, has admitted the decision to award the World Cup to Qatar when he was FIFA president was a mistake.
Well, it's concerning if you say so. Probably because he's not in office anymore. But from my standpoint, it is not a mistake. Look, yes, there are concerns in Qatar. People are talking about human rights decisions. But on the other hand, look at it. Taking football to Qatar gives the spotlight on Qatar. Now we can x-ray these things we're talking about. People can have the conversation, and it makes more meaning about the human rights issues, about other things you could think of. For me, it's not a mistake. It's, for the first time, a good thing happening from a football perspective in the Middle East. And it's a good thing that Qatar is hosting the World Cup from my standpoint.
But said, and I quote, I didn't vote for Qatar. Instead, wanted a gesture of peace by hosting the two tournaments in Russia in 2018, and then wanted